The Path to a New Life by Rebecca J. L. Chapter 1. Wake up! I bolted up and drew the dagger that I kept underneath my pillow. I quickly scanned the room for danger. Nothing was out of order. It was just my jerk father screaming from the living room. With a sigh, I got up and dressed, braided my hair, and belted on my weapons, along with my quiver full of arrows and my bow. Once that was done, I realized I forgot to put my cloak on. Ugh, dummy. So I quickly took off my quiver and my bow and put on my cloak. Then I replaced the bow and the quiver back on my back. After all that was done, I grabbed my secret money bag and put it in my hidden pocket. Now that that was done, I rushed upstairs and began cooking breakfast for Father. Once that was done, I grabbed the money in the food money jar and left through the back door after I grabbed my leather gloves. Once out the door, I paused and put on my gloves. Then I began the steady jog into town. On the way there, I felt myself relax. I loved the countryside and the trees, the natural music. It makes it oddly soothing. My favorite is the sound of the birds singing their wake-up calls in the morning. Once in town, I was completely calm, but that quickly turned into shock when I saw royal guards in pitched tents right outside the town. What's going on? I jogged into town to find everything normal. Weird. Then I saw them, the royal family with the headmaster at the Royal Guard Academy, surrounded by guards. Whoa, I wonder what brought them to our neck of the woods. Oh well, not my business. Suddenly, I heard a crash and the town butcher cry, "Stop, thief, stop!" I spun and saw the thief running towards me. From the corner of my eye, I saw the royals and the guards watching. I sighed, then I punched a dude when he was close enough. He fell backwards with a broken nose, and the food went flying. I jumped into the air and caught the bag that had the food in it. I then walked over to the groaning guy and placed my foot on his chest, and then yanked the hood off him and said, "Buster, you're in big trouble. You just did that with the royal family to witness your crime." I watched as he went pale in realization. I shook my head, then bent and pulled him up. Ronald, the town butcher, finally reached us panting and said, "Thank you, White." I nodded, then handed the meat to Ronald and grabbed the collar of the dude's shirt and pulled him over towards the sheriff's building. Once inside, I was surprised to see the royals in there too. Sheriff Tyler turned to me and gasped, "You got him! You caught the meat thief!" I raised an eyebrow and looked at the dude I held. I said, "Meat thief? Wow, I'm surprised you're not embarrassed." I chuckled and pushed him towards the Sheriff Tyler, who put the meat thief in the jail cell. "Ha ha, meat thief." I snickered and shook my head as I leaned against the wall with crossed arms, and I watched everyone in the room. I knew I had the eyes of the royals, the Royal Guard Academy headmaster, and Sheriff's young son, Skylar, on me. This is uncomfortable. Then Skylar cheered. "That was so cool! You stood there as if you knew he was coming towards you. Then you swung your fist and he fell to the ground with a broken nose and you caught the meat. I can't wait till I can fight like you!" I allowed my lips to twitch into an amused smile before saying, "Thanks, Squirt, but allow yourself to have a childhood." He paused and asked, "Did you have a childhood?" Everything and everyone went dead silent as they waited for my answer. I swallowed and said, "No, I didn't. Father began training me as soon as I could hold a dagger." Sheriff Tyler stared at me in shock, along with everyone else. But Skylar frowned and asked, "Didn't you ever play and have any friends?" I shook my head, and a look of horror crossed over his kid face. I chuckled and said, "Well, I gotta go get some things. I'll see you later, Squirt." Then, with a pause, I nodded my head at the royals and the Sheriff Tyler. Then I turned with a swish of my cloak and exited the buildings.